Rosa Parks was a lifetime activist who did much more than give up her seat on a historic bus. So, who was Rosa Parks? When most people hear the name Rosa Parks, they only associate her with giving up her seat on that bus in Montgomery. People do not realize that Miss Parks had a lifetime of activism in the fight for civil rights. A widely unknown fact was that Rosa was not the first person who refused to give up her seat on a bus. When looking and researching, I can cite the Britannica bibliography of Miss Parks that shows that Claudette Colvin had done the same thing just 9 months earlier. The history of Rosa Parks' story has been told time and time again, shedding light on her and her steps in the movement for racial and social justice. Americans all over the country have been educated by this woman. As someone who has done a lot of research on Rosa Parks as an activist outside of the Montgomery bus boycott, I am excited to share my knowledge of other things about Rosa that she's offered to the nation as a whole. First, I'd like to acknowledge that Rosa did so much more than just the bus boycott. Second, I want to give information about the civil rights issues that Rosa worked hard on. And lastly, things that she left her legacy with. An activist is someone who is trying to bring about social and political change. That's exactly what Rosa Parks was. In the early part of her life, she was born Rosa Louise McCauley on February 4th, 1913 in Tuskegee, Alabama. Her mother, Lenora, was a teacher and her father, James, was a carpenter. She had a younger brother named Sylvester. Rosa's parents separated early in her life, and she moved with her mother and brother to live with her grandparents in Montgomery, Alabama. Rosa believed in education at a young age, and she attended rural schools until age 11. She went to laboratory schools set up by the Alabama State Teacher College for Negroes for secondary education. She later dropped out of school to care for her mother and grandmother who had fallen ill. When doing my research, I can cite Wikipedia with information letting us know that Rosa was once quoted as saying, "I see the bus pass every day, but to me, that was just a way of life. We had no choice but to accept what was the custom. The bus was among the first ways I realized that there was a black world and a white world." Rosa met and married her husband Raymond Parks in 1932. Her husband was a member of the NAACP, and that sparked Rosa's interest into more active roles within civil rights. In 1943, she joined the Montgomery chapter of the NAACP and was voted to be the secretary. Rosa was very involved in many civil rights issues. She felt after a lifetime of being pushed around, it was her responsibility to use her voice. The NAACP, which stands for the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People, is an organization founded to help African Americans grow and be supported in our country. This organization has been instrumental in seeking justice and equality for blacks. The mission statement, as cited on the NAACP website, is to ensure political, educational, social, and economic equality and rights of all persons and to eliminate race-based discriminations. Rosa had a huge part in this organization, even becoming a member of the board. Rosa set up and helped work on many cases as defense counsel in the support of the NAACP. One of the major cases that she worked on was for Joanne Little. This was a case that took place in Detroit, Michigan. Rosa set up a chapter called the Joanne Little Defense Committee. Joanne Little was a woman who was raped in prison by her jailer. She killed him for it and escaped. She did later turn herself in, but was charged for his murder. Rosa worked tirelessly in her defense, and she was later acquitted for all the charges. She has many, many years of service to our nation She was a huge part of the Montgomery Improvement Association to help better the lives in Montgomery as a whole. Rosa Parks was a lifetime activist. She did so much more for our country than just give up her seat on a bus. As it can be seen, Miss Parks was instrumental in helping us afford the freedoms that I, as a woman, have today. She did so many things for the civil rights movement and lended her voice to show positivity and strength. I am so thankful for the ways that Rosa Parks spent her life fighting for our history, fighting for her present, and fighting for our futures.